My bad. Hi, Karen.
Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Good, good. How are you guys?
Great. How are you, Karen?
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Cool.
Loud and clear.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Good, Lance.
Hey,
How are you?
Hayden.
Hey, Lance.
So far, so good.
Yeah. Yep. Is your company going to the office now?
You know, we are, for the most part, I would say about 30% staffed still in the office, at least in the Rochester area. Most of them can work from home like I can. Unfortunately, I have to because I have nowhere to bring the kids yet. So
Yeah.
I've been trying to go in early in the morning before the wife leaves to go to work and then go in at late at night and do a little bit during the day where I can.
Yep.
And then try not to do anything on weekends.
Right. Well, you're probably happy that they're thinking about opening schools in New York.
You know, I am. I don't think I can do it, but obviously I want safety first. So whatever has to be done, whatever that is, I'll figure a way around it.
Right.
I've survived this much, you know. I heard Bob is offering to watch kids, so I'll just bring him to Bob's house.
Oh, sure. I'm a grandfather.
Hi, Gary.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Good.
Here.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi there, Amanda.
Hi, Karen. How are
This is Mike Green joining the call for the Eric and Brianne Johnson site plan.
Hi, thanks, Mike.
Hi, Chuck.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Chuck.
Beautiful night to do a Zoom meeting, right? It is beautiful out there. Checking our audience. Good crowd. Let's try to keep it under the last meeting's time.
Should remember that
Keep it under
forever.
4 hours, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
You missed it.
hey, from
You
reviewing.
need me for a timekeeper, huh?
Yeah, for reviewing the minutes that came out, it looks like you guys had a lot to discuss.
Oh,
Yeah, you
yeah.
should have just carried it over. We would have been glad to help.
See when you're not around,
Yeah, I know. I
Things
felt
get-
bad.
it's heavy lifting. You guys do all the heavy lifting. No, thank John. Great job he did on it. Golly. It was back and forth. But hopefully you felt like you were at the meeting after reading the minutes. I think you
There you
did
go.
great.
Yep.
Hey, Ryan, how are the gypsy moths?
So the gypsy moths have stopped eating all of the oak leaves, and now they're in their moth stage, their adult stage.
Yeah.
And it is remarkable how many moths are flying around the forest on every single tree.
Yep.
The females don't really fly, so they go up against the tree, and then the males come and they produce eggs. So the females are now laying eggs on the trees, and you could see them just pasted on all of the branches and all the trees. And so one thing I do want to bring up maybe at the end of the meeting is that, and a couple of years ago, I put a meeting together down in the hamlet of Cheshire about forest health, if you remember that. And
Yeah, I was there.
yeah, that's right. And so the only way we can manage these gypsy moths is with an aerial spray. I talked to the DEC, and I'm interested in maybe getting Eric and Doug to support another community meeting that I'll put together and organize with whomever wants to participate. Try to get more people to have an aerial spray application to kind of bounce their numbers back next May. So that's something I'm trying to get ahead of. But it's remarkable how many there are, and if we don't do something proactive, I'm afraid next year in year 3 we're just going to see a significant die-off. I've lost mature spruce trees, mature pine trees. It's remarkable the losses that we're suffering right now.
Wow.
Thanks for asking.
You go after the pines. Well, yeah, it's an issue. I know I've got them all over the deck, the moths. Golly, I've never seen them before. They're going crazy. All right, you want to put the flag up, Eric, and we'll salute the flag. Okay. Everyone, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All righty. You have joined the July 14th meeting of the Town of Canandaigua Planning Board. I see we have about 12 participants, including the board members. Let me do a roll call to see who's with us as far as the board is concerned. Karen,
I am here.
Ryan,
I am present.
Gary Humes,
Here.
Bob LaCourse,
I am here.
and Amanda Van Laken.
Hi, Amanda's here.
Thank you. I'm Chuck Euler. I am the chairman, so I'll try to be the ringmaster here. We also have us, hopefully, Lance Brabant from MRB. Want to chime in, Lance?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. We gave our attorney, Chris Nadler, the night off. We
But he's
also have our, excuse me?
I was just saying, he is available if we need to call him.
Okay. Attorney on standby. It's always good to have. We also have our able body, and we mentioned him previously, recording secretary, John Robatella. Hello, John. And running the controls, our director of development, Eric Cooper. All righty. For those of you who have not been sitting in any of our meetings, it's a fairly simple procedure. We try to control the madness by having the applicant for each particular application make his or her presentation. The board members will then question the applicant, any questions that they may have. I will open it up to anyone out there in the audience who would like to comment on it. And then we'll go back to the board for any final questions, and then we'll take a vote. If you want to talk to the group, please give us your name and your address so we know who you are and where you're from. And I think that pretty well covers the procedures. First thing I'll do is open it to the privilege of the floor. If there's anyone out there who would like to address the planning board regarding an issue that is not on the agenda tonight, now's the time to speak. If you want to raise your hand or just speak up, give us your name, we will recognize you. Okay, hearing none, we will move on. We have no public hearings tonight, so there was no advertisement required. And the first application we're going to look at is a new site plan from Michael Spanable, and Eric and Spanable. Okay,
Spanable. Yep.
Got it. Okay, Michael, sorry I butchered your name.
Well, that's not, I'm Mike Green that's here with you, but that's our engineer. He's just not, he's on a different meeting tonight.
Okay, okay. Well, we're glad to have you, Mike. You're representing Eric and Brianne Jennison, who is representing the Fowler Trust for property on Smith Road, and you're seeking a single-stage site plan approval for the construction of a single-family dwelling on a currently vacant lot. Mike, if you want to go ahead and tell us what you have in mind, what you're going to do out there, certainly appreciate it.
Okay, well, I'll go over the site planning part of it. We did perk tests, favorable perk tests, favorable depot. So it's a standard septic system. They're on an area that does not have public water, so they've already had a well drilled, and so they've got their water source and their septic design. They have their house plans picked out. We've done a grading plan. It's really one of these that very, very straightforward. We're trying to keep the mature trees that we can around the house and around the site. It's kind of a brushy slash some trees and pine trees on the site. Should be very nice lot when they're all done and got it all cleaned up. I think they're on the call too. I don't know if they have anything they'd like to add.
Are you with us, folks? Would you like
Yeah.
to?
We are on the call. This is Eric and Brian Jennison. We are, yes. And I think Mike stated it very nicely on our behalf. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Are you?
I'd be glad to field any questions from the planning board.
I just had one, and that was, can you tell me about the animal guard? I wasn't sure if it was wire or what it was.
Oh, that's a typical piece of mesh that keeps anything from going up the end of the footer drain pipe and possibly getting into the crock. He'd have a long run to get there, but they recommend putting a piece of wire on there to keep those out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike, where are you with the septic system again? You do you have a permit, or you just have a initial approval from Tyler?
I believe everything has been accepted by, because this is in the watershed, right? So it was sent over to the fellow that took over for George Barden. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, Tyler O.
Yep, I believe he's already approved it. If he hasn't, we better make sure we get it there.
It looks like he requested like an official application in hard copies, but
Okay.
says it looks like it could probably support the resident. So I'm not sure if he's provided an official acceptance or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure we would be able to send them that until we know the town is also okay with the overall layout.
Okay. Not an issue. We always condition it on his approval before C of O's, not permits or anything.
Perfect.
I want to get back to the plan, Eric. Okay, I know Jim Fletcher had made some comments about the culvert out, the driveway culvert out at the street on Smith, and he's gonna put that in, and it'll be 30 feet of 12-inch pipe. And I think we have it covered in the conditions that his item number 2 is covered, that the paving or the driveway will be paved from the right-of-way line to the edge of road. I think it's the last.
I see we do have that note on there. Can I get clarification if it's a 20-foot or 30-foot culvert?
I think Jim said it's a 30 feet of 12-inch.
Okay, because our plan currently shows 20, but we can certainly amend that before we make the final prints.
Okay. Yeah, I guess he's giving you plenty of room to make the turn of the radius into the driveway.
they can have a nice sized camper. It'll work.
For their land yacht. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Lance with MRB Group. I think Jim just typically states 30 feet and then cuts it down if necessary.
Okay,
Okay,
any other questions from the board? Landscaping, I see you have 2 trees. You're really not under any compliance as far as landscaping. Are you?
I think that the planning board will be quite happy when they're all done, because there are some pretty nice white pines that they're going to work around and try to keep on site. It'll look really nice when it's all graded and the scrub bush is cleaned up. So.
Can you just, this is Gary Humes. I didn't see any elevation drawings. Can you just kind of explain the house? I'm assuming it's a 2-story traditional house, sided asphalt roof. Can you just kind of explain what the house is going to look like?
I'll have to defer that to the
I can jump in here, Mike. This is Doug Dobler from Gerber Homes. I've been working with this family to, if you see their picture, they're a great family. They have a whole slew of kids, and they're looking forward to building this house. It's a 2-story frame house, attractive front. We've sent the plans into the building inspector, so he has the full set of plans. It is going to be 1,977 square feet. Garage on the right, so kind of a traditional colonial.
Okay, asphalt roof.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a photo here if you wanted to screen share. Maybe I don't know if you want to do that, of what the house will look like, if that matters.
Well, I'd like to see it.
So I guess you have to screen share me. Let's see. Can you see that?
You.
Not yet.
I like that.
Yeah. All right, let me try.
Not yet. It's not a must see, but I'd like to see it. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Eric, I think, there you go.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, perfect.
So that it would be the reverse of this with the garage on the right. This is a picture of a house in Webster that we're copying. Pretty much the exact same thing. Beautiful, great looking
Yep.
house.
Very nice looking house. Yeah, thank you.
We'll look
Very good. Yeah.
I have a shot here. Does that show the lot now?
Yes.
Shows
Yes.
a lot. Yep.
So that's the lot. They had some mowing done there maybe a month ago in order to get the well driller in there to drill the well. So this family has purchased this lot subject to the well going in okay and the site plan being approved by the town. So that's why the Fowler name is on the property. They're the owner, and they've been very cooperative with us with all the submissions to the town. So assuming this is approved tonight, then they'll give word to the lawyers tomorrow to close on the lot. And then we'll close on their mortgage in a few weeks, and we'll probably start building in maybe 2-3 weeks. That'd be the goal. So we're about ready to roll when you are.
Very good.
Yep.
Thank you.
There is a lot of vegetation on the lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I went up there and looked at it. It's pretty vegetated.
Does the plan show the limit of disturbance?
Yes,
Obviously.
it's the dashed line around there, and we're trying to keep the limits of disturbance right around a half an acre, so not to bother much of the trees and things that we don't need to.
And I see you have a backup turnaround in the driveway, so they can pull out on the Smith nose first. That's good.
I always recommend that.
Yeah, no matter where you live.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Any other questions from the group?
Yeah, I have a couple, Chuck, please. This is Ryan Chuck here.
Yeah, Ryan.
Great place for a property. Where can I just ask a couple general questions? Are the Jennisons moving into Canandaigua, or are they moving to Canandaigua, or were they already residents here?
Yeah, I can answer that. This is Doug Dobler from Gerber Homes. They live on Middle Cheshire Road, I believe, and I think Eric is from Canandaigua, or Gorham, actually. Eric, are you on there? You wanna?
I come from Williamson, New York, but my wife and I have been in the Canandaigua area for the last 12 years.
Awesome. Well,
Okay.
I'd like to welcome people to the community. Thanks for staying in Canandaigua.
Yeah, we didn't scare them off.
Thank you.
It's an excellent lot. I pass by it every day, so we'll be neighbors. Yeah, and so just about a couple things, like if you look at the map, north, Smith Road does not enter Route 21 perpendicular at a 90-degree angle. So as you're coming up the hill to turn right from 21 onto Smith, it's an odd turn for people, myself, in the winter. So sometimes you can, when people are tailgating it almost takes a little bit of a harder right to get onto there. And so I didn't understand why the corner lot, and maybe Eric, you could identify this. Why is that corner piece of the intersection, why are those corners cut out? Is that for a right of way for the town? Do we own those?
It's probably the state.
This is Mike Green, the surveyor. I'll jump in. That is a highway taking that was done by the state when they improved New York State Route 21.
Mm-hmm.
What they like to do is have some visible lines there so they can control the foliage in that triangle to keep people pulling out at the end of Smith Road getting ready to turn so that they have a better line of sight to oncoming traffic.
Great. That's good. I was going to hope that we can maintain that.
Yeah, I would believe it's probably more of a New York State thing to mow, but I don't know what the town does as far as that where town roads meet intersections, but it could definitely be maintained by a couple of different municipalities, I would think.
And the Jennisons would have freedom to also do that if they chose?
They can also mow it. Yep, just like, yep.
Okay. My second comment is pertaining to the 30-foot versus 20-foot culvert. It's in Jim Fletcher's comments, town code requires that they pave the driveway entrance up to the road. And what I've seen recently on a couple projects is that, and this is not specific to this particular parcel, but I just want to explore this. The requirement there, Eric or Lance, is that they have to pave up into Smith Road, right? For so much of a distance. When it comes to the requirement, though, what I've seen is that some people on more recent projects will only pave an 8-foot width. And the wings, I guess, I don't know how to explain that, of the paved area would then still be sub-base underneath. And I wonder what the requirement is, Eric, for that, or Lance?
This is Lance with MRB Group. I believe the entire portion of the driveway located in the right-of-way, as per the site design criteria, is to be paved. It looks like Eric's going to try to look it up, but that's my understanding. And if there's any portions of driveway that don't meet the town's requirements, I'm assuming Jim would not grant them a permit. Let's say if it's a new driveway. So I can't speak to those that haven't maybe been paved in its entirety based on what you're stating, but the portion, and then Eric, I don't know if it's shown in the detail there or not. It might be in the report portion of the manual where we talk about driveway entrances. I can't recall.
Yeah, and Ryan, this requirement became gospel as part of the redo of the design manual.
Yeah.
Because before, a lot of people were just putting stone out to the edge of road. The stone was being drug out onto the road. They had mud being drug onto the road. So this creates like a tire scrubber area, or an area that would pick up any loose stone or mud before you pull out onto the highway. So it is a new requirement, and we've been hopefully pretty good about enforcing it.
And I think and the only reason I bring it up is for the Jennison's benefit, that when they're plowing, you want to make sure that you wouldn't want the blade to tear up the new part of that driveway. And so I know that we really plow our roads really well, but then also just for safety issues, it just seemed like if you look on that detail, the edge of pavement, you see how it fans out. So Mike, can you speak to that on the plan?
Yeah, I can tell you that it's a 12-foot wide driveway with out at the radius is there. By the time you're at the end of the flare, the design shows it to be about 22 feet wide. So it's about 5 feet fanned out on either side of it's a 14-foot driveway. So it's about 4 feet out on either side then.
Yeah, that plan shows 13-foot driveway with 3 feet on each side. That's what that plan just showed.
Yeah. So we're 14 feet wide with 4 feet on additional flare. So yeah, that all should be paved, and it's about 20 feet back from the edge of the pavement to the right of way. So
thanks. Thank you. My last comment is pertaining to the trees that are on that property. I know that they might be white pine, but I almost think that there are different pine species, and I've always wanted to take a look at those and actually identify them. I used to teach dendrology. I'm a tree kind of guy, and they may be a different pine species that are native to New York. But would it be okay if I got permission to maybe just step out of my car and try to identify those pine trees that are near the road there?
Yeah, I don't own it right now, so go ahead.
Is that all right? How about, is that all right, Eric? I know we're supposed to get permission to see. To get on private property.
You're out there to investigate an application before you. It should be fine.
All right, awesome. Thank you very, very much.
It's still
And
under
other than
review.
that, perfect. I think it's a great place for a house. Great to have you back and staying in Canandaigua.
Bring back some pine cones.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else from the board? All right, I'll open it up to anybody out in the audience who would like to speak on this application. If so, raise your hand, identify yourself.
I don't think we have anybody.
Okay, well, if that's the case, just do a once over. This did not require a county planning board review. We sent it to Chris Jensen. We sent it to the Cheshire Fire Company. Got no comments from either. We talked about Jim Fletcher's comments. We talked about Tyler's comments. So if everyone is ready, I think we're ready to move on to seeker, which is this is a type 2 seeker. If someone would like to make a motion regarding seeker, I'll accept it.
This is Bob. I'll make that motion. Motion to accept Eric and Brianna Jensen's home or seeker type 2 on Smith Road, call 000 Smith Road on the RR3 zoning district, CPN 20-043.
Thank you, Bob. Do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
second that, Gary.
Okay. They were simultaneous, John. You can pick which one. We have a motion and 2 seconds. So all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we need the site plan approval resolution.
All right, this is Gary. Go ahead and make a motion to approve site plan for Eric and Brianna Jensen, 000 Smith Road, CPN 20-043. Subject to the, how many conditions we have? Still 8, Lance, is that correct?
8, yep, 8, sorry, was muted, correct.
Okay, subject to the 8 conditions as stated in the resolution.
If I may, Mr. Chairman and board, just kind of go over the one condition that I think it would be valuable information for the applicant, and that is condition number 6. That is in regards to the site design criteria that we referenced earlier. The applicant should be aware that with the updated site design criteria, Article VD3 of the manual, in regards to drainage improvements, if the total project disturbs more than 20,000 square feet, then the project is required to provide water quality preservation measures designed to manage impacts of a 2-year storm event. So basically, the town, through this design implementation, has required all residential projects of any size, as long as you disturb more than 20,000 square feet, to incorporate some type of a water quality device. We've seen many different variations of this, mostly rain gardens. So I just wanted to point it out so it wasn't complete shock when they got the conditions of approval, that there's going to be a need for some type of a water quality device to be incorporated into the project.
Is that clear to you, Mike?
Yep, that's
Okay.
not a problem.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. Karen?
I was hoping it wasn't Bob. Your voice has changed. All right, I have a motion, a second, for a site plan approval for the Jennisons out on Smith Road. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, congratulations, folks. Look forward to having you as residents, and come see us every once in a while.
Thank you.
So this is Mike Green to follow up on the rain garden. Is that something Lance is going to want to see on the plan before it's signed off on?
Lance?
Yeah, so as a condition, you're going to have to show something on the plans before they get signed.
Oh,
correct?
wait a minute. We only disturbed 19,738 square feet. says right there on the plan.
So I thought this, hold on one second. I thought the plan showed,
You're not kidding. You're not kidding, right,
oh,
Mike?
okay.
No, I'm not kidding. Right there
Okay.
on Arians of 19738. I didn't do that on purpose either.
Okay.
On the plan, it shows 24,598
What's
area
that?
disturbance.
Where's
Yeah, there's a note, just north of the proposed house that says area disturbance equals 24,593 square feet or half an acre.
Mhm.
Oh, he's got it on there twice. Wait a minute. I got time. Let me see what it comes out.
This is something that can be handled at a later time too, if we don't want to go through this right now.
Okay.
It already
Yeah.
passed.
I mean,
Okay,
if it's
we
less,
are
if
gonna,
it's,
it is, the 24,000 is correct, so we will go ahead and speak with Lance then about the detail that needs to be shown.
Okay.
Yeah, it is 24,000.
fair enough.
Okay.
Okay.
We're all good then. All right.
All right.
Thanks again, folks.
Thanks, everybody. Okay.
Let's see. Is someone here trying to cover issues that we have guests for CPN 20046? Venezia representing Mark Panoski, Sidney Wilkin, Timothy Schneider. They're looking for a waiver. Is somebody here, Eric, that wants to talk on that?
I'm annoyed that they're not, but no, it doesn't appear that anybody's
Oh.
here. I did Rocco to see if he would join us, but he's not. I'm more than happy to talk about what's going on if you guys want, and I'm assuming just as able to discuss it since I'm the one who told them that they need a waiver. If you guys want to really see what's going on. So it's probably beneficial if I pull up the lot here so you can see where it is and what it looks like today. So we're talking about this parcel. This very large piece. What is it? 125 acres. And then more specifically, we're talking about this piece right there, which they want to do a lot line adjustment and cut this piece in half and shift that to either side. In doing so, our checklist for what needs to be shown on the plat is that all the existing property boundaries, including bearings and distances, be shown on the plan and all that good stuff. They want a waiver from that requirement to have to show essentially the parts across the road and down the street, all those bearings and distances. Actually, I might even have them. So that is the waiver that they're requesting, I guess. They will still have to show the lot width or lot frontage on the street and the acreage to remain in that parent parcel so that I can do a determination. But some of the things to be shown on the plat, they're requesting a waiver from. Do you guys have questions about it?
I don't know why they wouldn't want to do it though. Is it just labor?
Yeah, cost of having to survey 130 acres or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
And since this lot line adjustment doesn't really deal with it at all, it doesn't change it, and I'm certainly confident that it meets the lot width and acreage requirements. I can't really base a determination on that.
Hey, Eric, question for you. This is Lance. So I understand that they don't want to survey it maybe for the purpose of the review of the board, but let's say it gets an approval. Ultimately, that plan has to get filed with the county. It has to be a certified plan and stamped at that time. So they're going to have to survey the boundaries anyway, correct?
They
In order
have
for the
surveyed
county,
the boundary of the portion to change this portion, and
okay.
I'm not a surveyor, but if it meets the New York State standards for what can be stamped and our requirements for what's to be shown on a plat are maybe a little bit more strict than that, I can't say. But if Rocco signs it as a surveyor and stamps it that it's acceptable, I don't see why that's an issue. You know, if he says that it's
And
accurate. And I think
Right.
also our,
I get,
I was going to say, our code allows for large parcels, a drawing from a legal description. I don't know why it doesn't do that.
okay. No, I guess sometimes the only thing that I've seen is when a parcel goes and gets re-subdivided over and over again over time and doesn't get resurveyed in its entirety, something eventually goes wrong and you end up having lot lines that aren't accurate over time.
Yep.
That's why there's a requirement then. Right.
Eric, I'm sorry. So it seems to me from reviewing this that there's three parcels. They want to make each of their parcels larger. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's 3 parcels. The one large parcel that's 125-ish acres right now would get smaller.
Okay.
The big one highlighted in yellow here on the screen. Once this loads. Or not. There we go.
But it's only the part of that parcel that's on the north side of Parish, that little piece there.
That's right. That's the only spot that's getting removed. I think it's, what, 4 acres or something like that? That'll get split
Gotcha.
up between these 2 parcels that will then be larger.
Does the owner also own those other 2 parcels?
Separate owners.
Okay.
For a while, they were trying.
Deed those,
What's
once that small parcel on top gets cut in half, are they gonna, I don't know what the right term is, but deed half of those to each seat to the other owners? Is that what's gonna happen?
That's correct.
Okay.
They tried to sell this piece for a while
Yeah.
as like a building lot. It looks like there's probably some sort of wet area right there. But anyways, they weren't able to sell it, and so they were just going to ship it off to the 2 neighbors.
And then the owner will still own those 2 other, I guess it's all one lot, but the 2 other pieces to that lot.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
So, I'm confused as to why it becomes a lot line adjustment, not a subdivision. You think if you subdivide, you split the lot, and then you join in common deed with property owners either side, that could be done.
No new lots are created, and so it's a lot line adjustment.
Okay. So if anything, a lot goes away. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, a parcel.
Well, a
let's
portion
call
of
it.
the lot.
Portion of the lot
Yeah.
goes away.
A portion of the lot. Okay, that's, I guess that's the way New York law works.
I don't have any problem with granting a waiver here.
Yep.
I think that we can still do the zoning requirements.
Hey, Eric, just for the record, now with that explanation, those other 2 lots that are associated with the one that's being proposed, it's our understanding based on this conversation that nothing is changing with those lots or those boundaries. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, then I'm fine with it as well.
And I guess the issue will come down to, at the courthouse, the recorder of deeds, if he or she has an issue with what's being
Right.
presented to be recorded, right?
Yeah.
So I guess we'll grant the waiver. I mean, we'll consider granting the waiver based on a vote here. And then if the county has a problem with it, it'll come back to us. Or they'll have to supply the entire perimeter.
I mean, theoretically, they don't need to come before the full board to do
Right,
it. Like if the county denied, they can just, survey it and do it.
And do it, and then do a lot line. Okay. Do we need to vote on? I guess we do. Okay.
Yeah, just if I could, Chuck, just for 1 minute. John, for the record, when I first looked at this, I support this concept of lot line adjustments to make 3 parcels into 2. We're removing fragmentation. And I think that if there is a cost for this, that we should explore in the future how the town can use open space funds or something to help offset costs and to help encourage landowners to do this with their neighbors. Instead of parcelization, if we're condensed, we're making parcels larger, and that's better for the environment. So I support this going forward as long as Lance are happy with this.
Thank
I
you.
don't know that the town should spend the open space fund for,
It was my opinion, Eric, not yours. It was mine. I said, John, but don't make sure you put Eric. Don't put Eric's name on it.
Well, the owners are certainly get compensation for selling to the two property owners, and I guess it's nothing prohibitive or they wouldn't consider adjoining it to their two respective properties. So I guess it's a win-win for everybody.
And the environment.
In the environment. And you could have had another building lot with a house on it, and that goes away. Okay.
Good point.
Okay, I guess I'll make a motion that we grant the waiver to the respective property owners of this property on Perry Street Extension, and the waiver being from the requirements of doing a full survey.
yeah, let me see if I can pull that section of code up again, just the same one.
You have Town Code Chapter 17470.
The only thing I'm struggling with, Chuck, is that just a couple meetings ago, we
Yep.
had an applicant, Sam Casella, who was not at the meeting, and we asked for that person to come to the meeting to answer questions. And if you guys can help me, we'll just work through what I'm struggling with. We required an applicant just recently to attend a meeting to speak or have somebody speak on behalf of the applicant, and now we're not doing that. So I just want to make sure that.
I think the difference. Go ahead, Eric.
I brought it up at the meeting that if you guys didn't have concerns on Sam Casella's application, you're more than welcome to vote on it. But because you had questions for him and wanted him to answer them, you continued it.
Yeah.
So the applicant doesn't have to be at the meeting, especially if you're going to accept their application or approve it. But if you guys are planning on denying it or have questions about it, it's just best to continue and get the response.
Yeah, I think that's the difference, Ryan. We had questions with Sam here. Unless someone has any questions on this, I mean, if we have questions, then we kick it down the road. But I don't hear any major concerns.
Okay, I just wanted to get it off my.
No, it's good you clarified.
Roman Catholic raised.
Okay.
Thank you, Ryan.
All righty. I made a motion. I don't know if I got a second.
Second here.
Karen
I'll
got a
second.
second. Okay.
Aaron.
To grant the waiver, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that takes care of that. I'm checking our participants. Anybody out there that? No, just us. Okay, so I guess we can go back. Let's go back to the minutes of the last meeting, the epistle. And that was the June 24th meeting. Amanda filled in very well for Karen and or Gary. And in fact, she had to fill in for both of us. So it was big shoes to fill. I guess the only thing, well, first of all, does anybody have any questions? I know there was the issue of the fire chief's review of the vessel application. And I know Gary and Karen not being here, if you had any questions on that, not to revisit it in its entirety, but I think the way we left it was that the fire chief had to be comfortable with what's being put out there, and that was a condition of the approval. And because he
So
did
it's
bring
not, it's not signed is what you're saying, right?
Oh, no, it's not signed yet. No,
Okay.
that was a
I
condition.
didn't know where you were,
No, it was conditionally approved the last meeting.
right?
And one of the conditions was that the fire chief be contacted and
Right.
made comfortable with the issue of the restricted area between the two homes. And I think there was a discussion as to whether we should make it a requirement and have his analysis before we move ahead with the motion to approve it, or that we go ahead and conditionally approve it based on his ultimately being comfortable with the way it's being built and designed and fortified. And I know, Ryan, you had a concern, and I don't know, again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but Gary, Karen, do you have any questions as to, after reading the minutes, as to what we did? And also, if not, then I'll ask Gary if the fire chief has been contacted.
No, this is Gary. I don't have any other further questions. Yeah, I went through the minutes a couple of times just to make, and with your explanation, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought the fire thing, I did get the conditional one. As I said, my only other question was a condition which was not in there, that the street not be blocked from emergency vehicles while the construction was going on, which is an ongoing problem with a street with many seniors and many ambulances and fire trucks.
Well, as you read the minutes, you saw the issue as to the time of year that the construction
Yes, I saw that.
And the applicant said it would not start construction until after Labor Day.
We still have a lot of people living there.
Sure. And I think the neighbor, that was their concern, that that they would have liked to seen it pushed back to like October. But
That's
in any
the same
event,
house that was being constructed too. That neighbor is still under construction.
yeah, it's good.
So
Another issue.
mhm.
Another issue. Okay, Eric, you said you talked to the chief. What did that discussion entail?
He kind of reiterated what he had in the letter anyways. He understands that the building will certainly meet New York State building and fire code, or else it wouldn't get a permit, and Chris Jensen will, of course, enforce that, and he does a great job at it. There was a question about water supply. I think in his letter, the town had recently, I think even Greg mentioned at the meeting, the town recently looped that water in for Fallbrook, so the pressure there and the fire flow has actually improved very recently. It's something like 1,000 gallons a minute or something like that for a hydrant.
Mm-hmm.
And I confirmed that with Jim Fletcher here today too. He's glad that there's no vegetation proposed in between the couple buildings there. He wanted to make sure, I guess what he said was, he just wanted to make sure that his concerns were placed in the record for the application. In the event that something did happen, he made sure that it was noted. He kind of reiterated his concerns for the firefighting on Fallbrook Park Drive, that it really should have a secondary egress, which there isn't one. There's not very much you can do about that. It would have to go out to Poplar Beach, which I think there is. Kind of exists, but not really.
Well, and the other thing, I try to get across that this is not a unique situation. There's so many homes out on the lake that are side to side on top of each other, and I just assumed the city would have some sort of procedure protocol for an event, a fire event, where you're between two buildings that are so close that they would have a method, a protocol to do it.
As I said to you earlier today, I'm going to reach out and confirm with Chief Magnair that that's the case. I'm sure that they do. There are homes closer together in the city of Canandaigua than there are here. So I'm sure they have an operating procedure for an instance like that. And then he did say in the future he would just recommend 15 feet between buildings as the absolute minimum, because he's seen the tests where fire is spread 15 feet for the radiant heat. So.
Yep. a valid concern.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that with the
This is why we are
pre-existing?
here, to make sure that safety issues are very clear. So,
So
Eric, how are you
so
going
I'm
to do
sorry
that?
I missed the meeting.
that's my question, Bob. Go ahead.
How are you going to do that with pre-existing conditions when it says that if they improve upon it 1 foot and they only have 9 feet now in between, how is that going to improve it? That was my point of my email.
Right.
I don't understand that at all for safety then.
Nope.
I understand.
And that was a good research thing. I agreed.
I understand your point in the email, but my job, or at least my determinations, relate to code themselves,
Yep.
which doesn't really take that into effect. But again, that is where the planning board has their discretionary role when an application of the code does not meet those that the planning board can say this should be complied with for purposes of public safety and welfare.
Oh,
But we have to do it. We can't just say it's a good idea to do it when the application's in front of us and those conversations are difficult and they're, it's not, that's up to us.
yeah.
It's not easy to make those calls and look at developer or a landowner and say, you have to redo the plan. It's very challenging, but that's our task, and we got to do it. I mean, if we're going to say we're going to do it, it's one thing to make documents, to do the right thing, to say we're for lake protection, to say we're for safety, but for application in front of us, we have got to stand our ground and do what's right.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I could not be there, but I absolutely thought it would be continued because of the fire safety seriousness of spreading the fire. So anyway, that's where we are, and that's it. But yeah, I'm sorry, because I do think that's our role.
Last comment, Eric. Yeah. If he says 15 feet, then we'd have to check our zoning code as far as side yard setbacks and go through all that, right? Or I guess if it's a new construction, we can get the 15. But if it's a pre,
if the RLD code was strictly enforced and there were no non-conforming lots, the minimum side yard setback would be 8 feet, which would give you 16 feet at minimum between houses. So it's kind of already in there.
Okay, so then it just comes up case by case if it's a pre-existing condition, I guess. No. If one of the lots has a pre-existing condition, and then it throws us into what Bob had brought up, that you can't get 15 feet because of our regulations. But okay, but I agree with you, Ryan. We've got to certainly make an effort and try to hold it where we can. But in any event, that's where we are. So I will make a motion to approve. I think that was the third draft of those minutes. But again, John, nice job. So I'll make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay,
Second.
Bob made a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, we have, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan or Eric, no referrals from town board. Nothing from ZBA, nothing from Chris Jensen. Well, let's do the letter of credits. We can do these. We can do them. We can do them both. We've got the Violas Family Trust for property on Fallbrook, and we have Mr. Wegman for his property at 4885 County Road 16. They're both want their sureties released, and I don't have the amount. Oh, there they are. So for Mr. Wegman, it's $11,600, and for the Violas, it's $1,300. So do I have a motion to approve these releases if all things are copacetic?
Motion to release, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Second?
Second.
Okay.
Bob.
Motion by Karen, second by Bob. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Okay, we took care of. Okay, do you want to discuss the remote participation policy, Eric, what's different or not different about?
Nothing is different thus far, but it's something that the board might want to look at revising. And the reason I bring it up is, I think it was last week, the governor's executive order with regard to telephonic meetings was set to expire, but he did extend it until August 5th. But when they do expire and we are perhaps required to meet in person again or hold in-person public meetings, it may be beneficial for the board to still continue to meet via Zoom or to not attend those public meetings, both for your health and safety, also for practical reasons so that we can have more people of the public potentially attending in the courtroom where where we can't have beyond a certain number, I think it's 50% of that capacity, and they also have to keep 6 feet apart. So we're kind of limited in the number of people that we can have in that room downstairs. So again, it might be beneficial to revise that remote participation policy for the event or when that executive order expires. My impression is that he will probably keep or continue to extend it, but we really just don't know both if he will or when, because he seems to do it on the last day that it's valid. So,
Hey, Eric, and this is Lance, just in regards to that, I guess my only question that I have, based on my understanding of what was referenced, is that if we're saying that the applicant and or their design professionals are to some capacity required to come to the town hall for a planning board meeting, at which point we're saying the board is not required to be there. I just want to make sure that language is softened in a way that makes sense, and possibly, and I'm sure you will, have Natalie take a look at that and make sure that that's justifiable. Because it's difficult to, I think the way I'm, at least my understanding, to say, hey, you're required to be here, but we're not. I just want to make sure I understood that correctly.
Yeah, I'd want to see the language before we could really get behind it, because it is kind of tricky.
Well, and if we keep it as virtual, I don't see a hybrid here, so to speak, where some people are at town hall, some people are online. I mean, we do have that if somebody's on vacation or out of town or something like that, which is certainly a good policy, and we continue that. As far as having the option of participating in person or remote, I guess we'll have to think about that. I certainly don't want to question anybody's concern about being in a large group. I certainly have my own concerns, and I try to avoid as many crowds as possible. I mean, as far as getting our work done, and I mean, that's another discussion in terms of, are we efficient in what we're doing it this way, or could we be more efficient being all in the room together? The only time I've seen it as an issue was the last meeting when we were talking to Rocco and we were talking about Brickyard and Airport Lane or Road or whatever, and that his master plan, and we talked about having a sit down and with him and go over the entire project to have a concept plan as to what it's going to look like rather than doing this thing piecemeal. There I could see getting in a room, laying it on the table, noodling over the plans, pointing at things, move this over here, move that over there. There's certainly an advantage to doing that in person, and I wouldn't recommend we do something like that till we're all back together. But as far as conducting our normal business, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, I think for the most part, it's been
good,
fairly well run.
Yeah, I think it has, and I believe, I kind of believe that I think the final, I'll say, new normal is probably going to be a hybrid type of a situation where we get people can either attend in person or via electronic. I think there is going to, I think the hybrid version is probably going to be the end result here, because I think we've proven that, you know, technology can work, but there are also benefits of being there in person. And I just don't see ourselves getting away from providing that option to people to be able to, you know, remote in from where they are. Now that might require some technology improvements that we have to do to the spaces there. We might have to put in larger screens and you know, technology inside the courtroom to be able to do that. But that's kind of my guess. I think that's kind of where we're going to end up.
I like the online format. We talked about it before anyway, where we don't have stuff mailed. I mean, it's just, it saves a lot of money and it saves a lot of waste. So that's very good. My corporate friends are all going to hybrid models and federal government. I can't imagine that anybody's going to say, yes, you have to go to a town meeting, although you're, you know, at high risk for getting sick, you know, so.
Have you worked for the state government before?
Huh? Oh, I have.
You worked for the state government before?
Oh, of course I was.
They're not supposed to react.
Yes, I sure did. No, but they aren't flexible, but.
Well, it's not a decision we have to make tonight, folks.
Nope.
And our next meeting, the 28th, is going to be virtual, so we've already made that decision. Looking forward to August, it all depends what the governor's edict, if it changes or not. So in the meantime, think about it and think of ways to improve. I mean, we have been fortunate, thanks to you folks being, you know, tech savvy, and also our participants and our applicants. They've been more than cooperative. I know the town board had a meeting the other night and it kind of got messed up. I don't know, Kathy she couldn't get connected, and then Doug was, they had too many people. They were talking about the racetrack, and boy, that kind of got out of hand, and it's on YouTube if you want to watch it. But anyway, if you need a good laugh. Anyway, we've been lucky, and fortunately, it's been through the good graces of the board members and staff and Eric and setting everything up, and it's run fairly smoothly, and hopefully it continues that way for as long as we have to do it. All righty, let's talk ordinance committee. Eric, I'll let you talk about it. I've talked enough today.
The last meeting, we talked about short-term rentals and off-street parking. The short-term rental stuff, they are still working on. I wouldn't expect anything from at least next month. We're going to look at another one. There'll probably be changes there. So it's a little ways off. The off-street parking one, they did approve a draft of that, and it will be on an upcoming agenda for you guys to talk about. Since your agenda for the 28th looks pretty heavy, we'll probably try to fit it in early August.
Yeah, I think you'll like the off-street parking. It puts a lot of discretion on the planning board, which is good, and it gives us a lot of flexibility in terms of off-street parking. And Eric, you had the items for the next meeting. We have the airport disclosure form. That's going to be a discussion item related to Rocco's project and anything else that occurs out there. And John Casey brought up permeable pavers. We talk about them a lot, but we're kind of loosey-goosey as to where they're used, how they're used, if, you know, when they're permissible, when they're not permissible. So I think we're going to get more into the details of permeable pavers, which is good. So any questions on the ordinance committee? Okay.
Great.
We're moving right along. We have an extension request, a second 90-day extension request from Dave and Laura Dadetta, and they own property at 4385 County Route 16. Of course, my immediate question is, why do they need a second extension? And apparently you had brought up their request, Eric, and showed us that it was because getting materials and subcontractors to do the work been an issue with the health crisis. So I guess it's something out of their control, and they're trying, but they're at the mercy of third parties. So do I have does anybody have any questions or for the reasoning, or any reasons why it should not be extended?
Nope.
Okay, I'll take a motion then.
All right, this is Gary. I'll make a motion to approve a second 90-day extension for CPN 069-19 for David and Laura Dadetta.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Training. I'm attending a webinar tomorrow on planning during a pandemic.
Me too.
I am
Okay,
too.
that sounded very interesting. So I'll see you guys all there. There are a couple APA training webinars I think that Eric had sent out, or Sarah. Amanda, I know you were either doing or going to do some sessions. Were you able to latch onto a few?
Yeah, there was a couple live online sessions that I was able to get to, and then through the website, through the state website, there's a couple of pre-recorded sessions that I have on my list.
Okay.
So I just have to tally up if that reaches the 12, and I'm sorry, or the 12 hours, and I'm sorry to miss the one tomorrow. I have about 14 conflicting meetings during that time, so let me know how that goes.
We'll take good notes.
Thank you.
When you have those tallied up, just be sure to send them to myself and Michelle in our office so we can add it to the little record.
Yep, thanks.
There's the one that you sent, Eric, the 28th, 23rd, 26th. The thing on the lakes, planning communities with lakes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an hour session. I signed up for that one. That sounded interesting.
When's that, Chuck? Oh, never mind. I'll look it up.
Eric had sent out a thing on it. There was one this week that I think somebody participated in.
Ryan did.
Ryan, that was it. Okay. How was that one, Ryan?
That email to everybody.
Yeah, I sent a couple links to Eric, and we could forward them. It was really, it was a good introduction to lake limnology, the study of inland waters and how lakes, the ecology of lakes. It was a good refresher for me, I guess, talking about the different layers of temperature the biggest theme I got out of that from the scientists that were talking were that we're seeing a lot of these trends across the Finger Lakes, and it's generally tied to the warming temperatures.
Yes.
And phosphorus, and they were talking about how the lakes the most remarkable thing I think I learned was when you look at New York State as a whole, the lakes that are in the western region are deeper lakes compared to the lakes that are in downstate and even the Adirondacks, which I knew the Adirondacks, but I thought that was just based on the glacial history here. So that was neat to hear that. We have very deep lakes. We're very, very lucky to live where we live. But it wasn't really, they didn't really recommend like, do this, don't do this. They were more like generalities like agriculture causes significant amounts of phosphorus going into the lake. Like, okay, yeah, we know that, So it was a good 1 hour training. I attended another half an hour network thing afterwards, but it was a good 1 hour training, but it wasn't anything. I had emailed them to please talk about roof drainage and discharge directly into lakes, and they did not really get into that, but it was a good training. I mean,
That was affiliated with Syracuse, right?
yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's and this other one is too. The one we'll get to you, Karen.
I got it right now. I'm just looking at it because Eric just sent it to me.
Oh boy, Eric's so efficient.
He is. He's a whiz.
Alrighty. Other housekeeping things. Eric's working on the 2021 budget, and I think I'd said a couple of meetings back that we want to be at least aware of a budget for the planning board. You know, at least be educated. Not that we're that much involved with the production of it or the generation of it. I guess nothing's happening with the comp plan, right, Eric? It's dead in the water for now?
Pretty much.
What
Okay.
does that mean pretty much? I'm sorry. What does that mean pretty much, Eric?
For the time being, there's no money for it. The board, I don't think, wants to, they don't want to attempt public meetings on something that's as critical as the comprehensive plan if they feel like there's limitations to who can or will attend, and thus kind of bias what sort of response there is.
Great.
So, yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Good answer. Any plans that are ongoing? Yeah, are active?
Oh, we got all sorts of plans going on. There is a plan for State Route 332 and Route 96. Most of this is in the town of Farmington, but there is a portion of it in the town of Canandaigua. It's kind of this area of the town of Canandaigua, just north of the Uptown area. It's a corridor study for 332, as far as we're concerned, on how to more efficiently, safely move people in this area. It's kind of also a multimodal one, so how can we get people to do it through means other than cars, whether we can get people on buses, bikes, walking. Again, most of this is within the town of Farmington because it will go all the way up here and through 96 and over to, Route 90. But for the town's purposes, I think a lot of it will have to do with how can they develop that while protecting farmland. It will get into growth node 2 here, MUO2, and what that might look like, maybe setting us up for a future study of that similar to the Uptown area, you know, a more comprehensive look at MUO2 and what any rules there might be. There is the Middle Cheshire Road corridor study. Not really anything new to report there. Since our last meeting, I believe in May, they've been working on a draft existing conditions report, but we do have a meeting on Thursday to discuss that. The City of Canandaigua's comprehensive plan, which they had finished theirs up, essentially a draft before this whole COVID thing hit. So they've been finalizing that. It looks to be pretty much done. Where's the other? Oh, the Uptown plan and the form-based code study. I just got from them today a draft form-based code. So we'll review that and work forward. There's probably at least a couple months left of that one. That's pretty much it, though.
I know the other day at the Planning and Public Works meeting, Greg laid out an alignment for the Auburn Trail around the airport. I guess they're starting to hone in on that, how it would run down Brickyard from Center Point Apartments and in front of the airport in that right of way that easement that we had gotten from the airport, and then cross through the airport crash zone and go back to the property on County Route 30 that the town owns, and then cross County Route 30 right around Outhouse into the park. So it's a nice trail, once it's done. So that is at least on the drawing board. It's starting to get hard lined anyway.
And when you mentioned Greg and the Public Planning Works Committee, it reminded me of Grandview Park, where I believe they're looking at sewer in this area.
Yep.
Doing some like preliminary engineering of it or preliminary review. So
Hard to believe
that was-
they are not on sewer, that area, but they're not. Okay. All right. Next meeting's the 28th. It'll be via Zoom. Got a pretty heavy agenda. Some of the applications are conditional upon ZBA approval. So if they all go through, we'll have quite a bit to discuss. Anybody else have anything for the good of the group? Well, again, thank you. We kept this one under 4 hours.
You did.
Okay, well, that's because Karen and Gary were here to keep us moving.
That's right.
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 7:13 p.m.
I'll second that. Good job, Chuck.
Yeah.
Okay,
Chuck,
good.
job,
All
bud.
right. Watch out for those gypsy moths, Ryan.
Oh, seriously. Be
Keep your
careful,
head down.
everybody.
All right.
Don't
Night-
even, oh, they're awful. Ugh.
Night all.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
See you guys.